Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
'Tis the season to be jolly. Fa la 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 la. Oh, not yet. Too soon. It's time. Sorry. Guys, welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. This is our final and weekly recap of the BRAXTONS. Look, I didn't plan on recapping the BRAXTONS, but there was just so much news, and I had a strong opinion on what was happening on the latest season. So I've been here. You guys have been engaged in the comment section. You've had your thoughts, your opinions, and here's our final thoughts and opinions. I don't know how you guys would rate the season overall. It was a very quick season, very much like their last season. It was only 8 episodes, but it really can't be a long season. And one of the things that I paid attention to, especially in part 2 of their finale, it was really 2 episodes, guys, but they said 2-hour finale. In the second episode, the real finale, when they were all coming together, and it was like, I don't want to talk about this. Toni Braxton has the nerve to be on a reality show and say, I don't want to talk about my personal life. And I know some people might think that she was being facetious. No, but if you watch last season and you watch this season, we don't really get their personal lives. All we're getting is their personal struggles with each other. But I just feel like those personal struggles with each other are not enough to make a show. And definitely not making a watchable show, because a lot of people are saying, I can't watch the toxicity of this sisterhood. And the way that Tamar apologized in this final part, it was feeling like I'm apologizing. And I'm not even sure now if the fights between them were necessarily 100% real. I do believe that there is definitely some realness there, that there is some toxicity and there's some resentment in their sisterhood. But at the same time, I'm like, are you guys just doing this to have some sort of drama for the season? Because now I'm trying to wonder, like, what exactly did we talk about this season? What exactly was healed? That little sort of, sister weekend that they ended up doing didn't feel like we really resolved anything. And I'm really surprised, because I know a lot of you guys blame Mama E, Miss Evelyn, for why the sisters are the way that they are. And look, that could be true, but at what particular point as grown adults that are 40 and 50 years old, do we take ownership and say, you know what? Yes, the toxicity of the past, we want to do something differently. But at the same time, I'm still surprised as the matriarch who is very much in their lives, we never saw a scene with her sitting down and having a conversation, if not with all of them or with them individually, about what's been going on in their relationship. I found that to be weird. Anyone else? Like, if you want to connect a full story here, why is the mother not involved in regards to what's going on with them? She's involved in the wedding. She had her own personal issues. And poor Larry, or was his name Larry? It was Larry, right? Poor Larry, because no matter how she would try and dress it up and sugarcoat it in her confessionals, like, he's a very nice man. Don't stop asking me about him. Blah, blah, blah. When she was in his presence, it was giving ice cold. And I get it. She's been through things. However, I just felt it was weird. Why invite this man to this wedding if it's going to be weird like this? You invited him because you didn't want to be alone at the wedding. But at the same time, I didn't feel chemistry, but I also didn't feel, even if it was just a friendship, I felt like she was standoffish. Like, her face, her body language was very standoffish. Mr. Larry, you're way too nice for her. I want better for you, and I don't even know you. Anyone else? I want better for you. I don't feel like you need to bow at the tower or the throne of Miss Evelyn Braxton. No. Because now what exactly are you offering to the relationship? Anyway, look. Anyway, we will get through it. I did not take any notes. I'm going to share all of my thoughts off the top of my dome. Okay. in regards to what plays out first in episode part 1. We'll call it part 1. I guess it's technically episode 7 and then episode 8. Part 1 is mainly about Towanda's wedding. And look, I want to give, because I know there were people that will vilify Towanda, and look, please understand, we've talked about Towanda too, and I don't think Towanda's innocent. But where I can connect with Towanda, and if you never lost a sibling, you probably can't relate. So when she saw the handkerchief where it was celebrating Tracy, and look, the more they talk about Tracy this season and some of the moments that they wish she was here and how she would react, I think for fans, they also would feel that, like, damn, I really kind of miss Tracy and her energy and her funny and what she would do. I will say in part 1 and part 2, there were quite a few moments that made me laugh in regards to what's been playing out with like Trina. Trina made me laugh, and Tamar makes me laugh. But I've said this before. I know some people think, oh, I don't like Tamar, and I don't know Tamar to not really like her. Do I not like some of the things that play out on social media? Yeah. Or I don't like the family. We don't know these people. But based on what we've seen, these are my feelings. But who knows? You can meet these people in real life and be like, you know what? You actually are really nice. You're really not. I don't plan on meeting these people. But anyway. So in part 1, it's mainly about Towanda's wedding. And so she's getting ready for her wedding. And she gets really emotional when she sees this handkerchief celebrating Tracy's life. And throughout the wedding, there are little elements of Tracy and celebrating Tracy at the wedding, which was beautiful. So I felt for Towanda because her seeing that, she really, like, she could barely breathe. She's just like, I really wish that Tracy was here. As you know, Tamar was not invited to the wedding. But I think she might not admit this. Towanda might not admit this. Sidebar. I kind of wish that Tamar had crashed the wedding. Come on. I kind of wish she would have crashed the wedding. Just to kind of, if you want to make reality television, crash the wedding. Okay? OG, like, come on. Crash the wedding. Have her show up at the wedding. But I don't think it would have been anything. I think she would have showed up. Maybe it would have been an olive branch. Or even if she sent something. But I get it. They went to the pits of hell. But they didn't really need to go to the pits of hell during that conversation. Because if we get to the root of conversation, and we're going to talk more about this during our BRAXTONS recap of season 2, it didn't need to go there. Tamar's issue is not with her sisters. Yes, she has issues with her sisters. But when it comes to the cease and desist, or as she's called it, the cease and deceased, it's from her brother. And they literally blur and beep out them mentioning the brother's name. You guys don't want to give us the reality of the situation. And I get it. He doesn't want to be on this show because of the accusations that his own daughter has against him. But the reality here, you are not mad at your sister. I mean, you are, but you're displaced. Your anger is displaced because they're not the ones who sent it. And before y'all in the comments be like, well, Kempire, someone gave her address. You don't need someone's address to send a cease and desist. All they could have done, that attorney could have sent that cease and desist via email. Probably could have sent that cease and desist via social media if they really wanted to. But at the end of the day, cease and desist is not going to stop her business because legally, Ashley has every right to tell her story on whatever platform, including Tamar's. So when you understand, so let me explain this to you, because some of you do not understand this, and I understand, because you're not in this world and you never received a cease and desist. Yes, you should be mindful and you should respond to a cease and desist. We talked about this during my tour. I got one too. Well, not from the BRAXTONS. I got one separately about that story that I did about Tyler Perry's SVP and the act. Okay. If you missed it, you missed it. Okay. But I responded to the cease and desist. Did I cease or desist? No. But I responded to it to show good faith that I hear you. I see you. You matter. But I'm not taking my video down because I did nothing wrong legally. And what I'm saying with Tamar, you are doing nothing wrong legally by having your niece on your podcast. So your brother, allegedly, I'll say, sending a cease and desist doesn't stop your business. And I think being Tamar, being dramatic and wanting the attention on her, and she's also a major player in producing this show. She has told us that she makes the most money from this. She's the big producer. This is her production company along with WeTV, et cetera, producing this. She wanted to produce a moment. And that moment and her trying to produce a moment led to toxic things being thrown at each other, things that could possibly, something that you could never come back from. All right, we will get back to that. Guys, today's recap of the Braxtons brought to you by our friends over at HomeAglow. HomeAglow is sponsoring today's show. As you know, the holidays are here. They're about to come and clean up my apartment. I've been trying to find a company or just a cleaner in general that I could trust to come in and do the job of cleaning my apartment. Because as you can see, this week, we've had the housewives keeping me busy. Do I have time to be mopping someone's floors or wiping down baseboards or cleaning out the oven? Well, the holidays are right around the corner, and you're going to need someone to come and clean out that oven after you're done making that good turkey and stuffing. And okay, is it stuffing or is it dressing? Argue in the comments. Don't argue with me. It doesn't matter to me because I'm just going to eat them. I don't care what you call them. HomeAglow is going to help you. They're going to help you. HomeAglow is a 5-star home service platform dedicated to making your space clean and tidy. With their easy online booking capabilities, you can instantly schedule top-rated cleaners in your area for special occasions or regularly with their Forever Clean membership, which is what I love. The option of like, I just want a one and done. Who said that? I did. Or you can set it up bi-weekly, weekly, or monthly. It's up to you. Okay, so we're so excited to partner with them. And of course, we want to make sure you know how easy it is. Because literally, I wanted them to come this week. They could have came. I think I scheduled it on Wednesday, and I wanted them to come. I'm going to have them come, I think, tomorrow. And I could have had it a lot earlier. So they make it so much easier. They're top-rated reviews on their cleaners as well. So this is how easy it is to schedule. To schedule a cleaning, you simply go to HomeAglow's website to choose the day and time you're looking for and duration for your cleaning. To match with a cleaner, schedule as quickly as this week or get something on the calendar for next month to check it off your to-do list early. As I said to you before, the holidays are here, literally next week. You might want this for next weekend after you've had the family come through. You can see photos and reviews of the background checked cleaners before booking the right cleaner for you. The best part is that their Forever Clean membership, which saves you $30 an hour on all future cleanings, book unlimited cleanings starting at $19 per hour, backed by HomeAglow's happiness guarantee. HomeAglow services are only available in the U.S. because you know we worldwide, just an FYI. So, of course, we got you a good discount, all right? Take home cleaning off your plate this holiday season by using HomeAglow. Head to homeaglow.com, Kempire. /Kempire to get your first 3 hours of cleaning for only $19. That's HomeAglow.com/Kempire. Head to the description for more details on HomeAglow and the service and your discount. Thanks to HomeAglow for sponsoring today's recap of the Braxtons. So back to this, Towanda's wedding. So I have a couple of things to talk about in regards to Towanda's wedding. We already talked about Larry and Miss Evelyn and the awkwardness there. I feel for him. He's a nice guy. Look, maybe on camera she doesn't want to show this relationship, but you asked this man to be there. Maybe off camera they will build a relationship. I don't know. Maybe she's very much like Trina and Tony. They don't want to share their personal lives, even though Trina shares way more of her personal life than Tony. Okay. But I will say, in regards to the wedding, I know you guys didn't care. I know you didn't care, but I did, because as someone that has lost a sister, way younger than Tracy. My sister passed away. She was, oh my gosh, not even 21 when she passed away. So I understood completely, and I felt for her in that moment that sometimes you don't even see it coming where things trigger you, and it's a all-out, boo-hoo, ugly cry, you can't breathe kind of cry. So I really felt for her in that moment, and for anyone that's ever lost someone or lost a sibling, you understand. You don't necessarily ever really get over it. You just kind of get by, and you just never know what's going to trigger it. Me watching something like that, if you're watching something like that, could trigger like, oh my God, I miss my sister or my brother or whoever it may be that you may have lost. So I felt for Towanda in that moment. So she has that moment. She's getting ready for her wedding. She's excited. All right, beautiful wedding. Sidebar. And I get it. Maybe the kid's father is not involved. I think Towanda has said that he hasn't seen them in a few years. I don't know. Again, these are elements that we could be talking about on your reality show about your family. But I just find it weird that they're referring to her kids, because her son's not going to be at the wedding because he is in, not the Air Force, the Navy? I can't remember, but some sort of service to our country. So, the Marines, he's in the Marines, right? Yeah. And which is, I think a lot of people have said that. We were just talking about this on Real Housewives of Orange County, how when you go to the Marines, your children are never the same when they go to the Marines. So they always refer to the kids as Towanda and Sean's. And look, maybe he's more of a father to them than their biological father, but I always found it to be, I was like, am I confused? I was like, those are not his kids. But in his head, maybe they are his kids. Okay, but it just stood out to me. Okay. Anyway, so moving on from there. So we have the wedding. Everyone's there. Everyone's celebrating. I will say this. Trina, you cleaned up nice. She said the girdle wasn't girdling, but her butt looked good. And then these damn editors, they show it again when she was going, and then give a back shot to Trina. Trina looked good. I liked her look. I liked her dress. She looked beautiful. Toni Braxton can't help but to be sexy no matter whose event it is. It's someone's wedding, her son's graduation. She looked gorgeous, though. Like, I'm not going to deny it. But that sort of like see-through dress where you can see her pants, I was like, well, Toni Braxton's always going to Toni Braxton, okay? And of course, she's going to give you, I always think about Toni, especially with the recent stories about some of the outfits that she's worn at her son's graduations. I always think about the Aaliyah I Miss You music video, because everyone back then when she was in it, they were like, what is Toni Braxton doing in this video? And when I say what is she doing, not the fact that she was in the video, she was sort of like, since you've been gone. She was just being very sensual, and everyone's just, being solemn because we just lost Aaliyah. And Toni Braxton's in the music video. Since you've been gone, I've been thinking. Look, just posing. And it always stood out to me. I will never forget it. But it's Toni Braxton. She doesn't mean any harm. She doesn't mean any disrespect. This is just her personality, I guess. So it's a beautiful wedding. We get to see a lot of the friends, the family. Everyone's there, okay? The vows. Sean is emotional seeing her come down the aisle. She looks beautiful. Okay. So they have the wedding, beautiful, okay? Then they're all mingling, and then Vaughn apparently is speaking with the doctor, another doctor that's there, and he found out that his potassium score was like 7 that morning, and the doctor told him, his actual doctor who's also at the wedding, who's a woman, told him to go to the ER. So she's like, "Why are you here?" And only after he spoke to the male doctor that was there that he was like, "Oh, I need to go." So Vaughn, this is an excuse where he did this before when Trina was in Mexico. They went to Mexico, right? For the bachelorette weekend. And he's like, "I didn't want to tell you because I know you wouldn't have gone." Stop with the trying to be like this act of valor. It's no longer an act of valor. Now I just feel like you're selfish and you're scared, and you don't want to say that you're scared, and you're ruining the situation. You don't think that you dying, or maybe, because that's what the doctor said, on the floor of Towanda's wedding would have been a lot worse than you going to the doctor and maybe preventing that? And yes, Trina would have wanted to be there with you, but you could have went to the doctor and then maybe could have made it still Or at least Trina could have made it still to the wedding. I no longer think it has anything to do with his deep concern for Trina and he wants Trina to be at the wedding. It's your own fear. And you're afraid to tell the world that you were scared. But I also think that you're selfish. And I was annoyed. And you know, I was even more annoyed because we already have said that he's misogynistic. It was even more misogynistic of you when your female doctor told you to go, and only when the man told you that you needed to go, that you took it serious. And then Trina was like, don't produce me now, when they were trying to leave and the producer was coming up to them. Like, don't try and produce me now. I need to go. Now y'all want to try and produce a moment? This is not the time to try and produce a moment. Anyway, so they end up leaving, but they don't tell Towanda. And look, it's her wedding. I understand why they don't want to tell Towanda, but I'm surprised that Towanda didn't notice that, and she did notice at some particular point that Trina wasn't there. But them trying to not tell Towanda that she left, I'm like, she's going to notice, because Trina's always in everything. So the fact that she's not seeing Trina, I think it's going to stand out to her. For me, I felt like that was a produced moment. I believe the Vaughn stuff, obviously, but the whole let's not tell Towanda. And then mommy, should I tell Towanda? She's like, no, you shouldn't tell it to the end. If y'all don't stop trying to produce some sort of drama for this wedding, come on, stop with it. If anything, the reality of what's going on, I don't care about stuff like that in regards to like, oh, we don't want to ruin your day. Tell me what everything that's going on, especially Towanda being a Virgo. She can separate situations. All right. So I think she would have been fine if you had told her. She was like, oh, okay, at least he's taking care of it. When she found out, she was literally, that was her reaction. Well, I'm glad it's his blood work. Okay. But them trying to make some sort of drama out of it. I know y'all were bored. Some of y'all probably didn't even watching. You're just watching my recap of it. That was part one. The part one is mostly the wedding. We also did see a couple of scenes because this is what they do because they're promoting their music. Tamar meets with Tricky Stewart, who I interviewed years ago for Kempire Radio, and I interviewed him about his catalog. Tricky Stewart is a legend. He's a legend when it comes to music. He did say something shady about Janet Jackson in my interview. Because remember, he worked with Janet Jackson. I think it was the Discipline album. Was it a Discipline project? I don't think he was being shady. He was just telling the truth. And I was like, really, Tricky? Kempire Radio's YouTube channel. So just in case you want to go take a listen, it wasn't a video interview. It was Kempire Radio, so it was all audio. And I remember him talking about Janet. That stood out to me. For those that are watching this on YouTube, yes, you can get your Are You Okay? merch at houseofkempire.com. Information will be available in the description. Podcast fam, you can get a t-shirt too. And you could tell from that, like, this has been washed already. You could tell that this is good quality. Even after a wash, this sweatshirt, first of all, those of you that have gotten it have already told me, like, Kempire, the quality is top tier. So, and I Black Friday's coming, so there will be a Black Friday sale. I will get you guys, if you're a member. Member, these are perks that I don't include in the membership, but members, I will set you guys up. I'm set a reminder for myself to remind you guys about, set you up for a discount code. We've done that before. So members, you'll get a discount code on the merch. It's smooth, like it feels good against my skin. Anyway, back to this. Just a little break to remind you, because I know you guys are looking at the sweatshirt, and like, is that a Kempire shirt? Yes, and it says Kempire at the bottom. Are you okay? All right, anyway. And shout out to everyone. I will be doing it today at some particular point. I will do my review of the Brandy and Monica show, The Boy Is Mine tour. I have a lot of thoughts, so stay tuned for that. It will drop on the Kempire podcast first. And then, of course, I'll do a video. We'll see. We'll see if I'll record the video version as well. We'll see if I feel like it. Maybe all I gotta do is sit here and talk to the camera. like this. Guys, if you're just joining us, don't forget to like the video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. Yesterday was a busy day here on the channel. We not only recapped Real Housewives of Orange County, but we also gave you an update in regards to the Wendy Acefo legal situation. She's responding. And the Mia Thornton situation. Is she still locked up? Because she doesn't have $2,500 to get out of jail. We also went live for the breaking news that Kandi has confirmed to People magazine that she is divorcing Todd Tucker after 11 years of marriage and 2 children. So if you missed that video went crazy last night. I think we already have, we definitely have over 100,000 views from that video from last night. But we had a lot of people that were in the chat. So shout out to those of you. If you're new here, let us know that you're new. We don't just talk about housewives. We don't just talk about reality TV either. We talk about everything in pop culture. It's just the housewives have been a lot this week. So anyway, so back to the Braxtons. So that was episode 1. Was there anything else in episode 1? Oh, yeah, I was talking about Tricky Stewart. So Tamar meets with, okay, elephant brain is working. So Tamar meets with Tricky Stewart, who is a world-renowned producer. She's working on new music. I still have not had a chance to listen to her new music. I do want to listen to it because no matter how people think I feel about Tamar, I actually think Tamar has a beautiful voice. Recorded voice. In regards to like when she records, live can be hit or miss. Hence why we got into our little tiff years ago. Anyway, that's a whole other story. Okay, but I am going to listen to the project because I did love Love and War, but also before that, if you don't wanna love me, don't love me. That used to be my favorite Tamar Braxton song. Before y'all didn't even know who Tamar Braxton was. Some of y'all didn't. Before the reality show, I knew who Tamar Braxton was. She was probably, outside of Tony, my favorite Braxton because she had her hit single, If You Don't Wanna Love Me, Don't Love Me, Don't Wanna Touch Me. I love that song. Matter of fact, I'm going to listen to that today. Such a great song. Still, look, see, this is what happens. So many people are so team whoever that they can't give credit when credit is due. I can. I don't care if Tamar told me to rot in hell. She did. Tamar, thanks for watching, though. I love your song, If You Don't Want to Love Me, though. Just say, great song. I love the project Love and War, but the song that I love the most, oh my God, I can't think of the name. It's off Love. It's not Love and War. It's the second single, I believe. Oh, I love that song. That's probably one of my probably my second favorite, if not my. It's between that song and If You Don't Want to Love Me. That might be my favorite Tamar Braxton songs. Just saying. Yuck. So she's working on a project. She talks about this with Tricky Stewart, and she's like, normally I put out a single or an album for, around my birthday. And her birthday's about to come back up. Pisces season is right around the corner, y'all. I know you're thinking like, really? Yes. Right now we're about to be I guess technically we're in Sagittarius season now. Today starts Sagittarius season. Shout out to all the Sagittariuses, or we're about to start. Shout out to the Scorpios. Calm down, Scorpios. Don't be sensitive. I know you're in your feelings. All right. I was about to look for notes. I was like, I didn't take notes. So part 1 of the season finale of the Braxtons included that. Then in part two is where Vaughn goes to meet with his doctor, and his doctor was actually attending the wedding because she's a family friend. And I love this doctor's energy because she was just like, okay, so what did the blood work say? And when I tell you to go to somewhere, you need to go to the ER. And she was just frustrated with him, and I don't blame her. I was like, oh, well, you talk to another doctor and that's when you decide to listen? She's like, I don't want to hear the excuse that Trina wouldn't have gone to the wedding if you hadn't gone and you were in the emergency room. I don't want to hear that. You think it's better that you drop dead on, at the wedding? Because they were saying that not only does he have the congestive heart failure, he has a kidney issue as well. She's like, you're in a very serious, like he needs to make some drastic changes. And I've said this before, and I say it all the time because I realize more and more, especially after meeting you guys on tour, how important our platform has been to a lot of you in a variety of different ways. And sometimes us talking about things reminds you guys to focus on certain things like your health. And I've said this before. Look, we joke about fame, success, money, love. None of that stuff matters. Even love. None of that stuff matters, but love helps with your health. I will say that. Just saying. But none of that matters if you're not healthy and if you're not going to the doctor. And unfortunately, there are so many things, especially within the Black community, like heart disease, that's a silent killer. That you think that you feel fine. Honestly, you're probably not feeling fine, but you're like, oh, I just got a headache today. Oh, like, a little heartburn. Or, oh, I got a little dizzy. Just a little dizzy spell. Go to the doctor. I implore all of you. It's about that time. This is the month where you're supposed to be updating your insurance and things like that. This is why I get so frustrated with the politicalness, how they politicize healthcare. And it really should be something that is made for everyone to have access to. We are the richest country in the world, and countries with far less have universal health care. And I will never stop not talking about that because it's so important. It is a human right, and it affects each and every one of us. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. You all deserve health care, and no one should not want to go to the doctor because of a copay. I get it. As someone that owns his own business and pays for his own insurance, I get it. Where you're like, I don't want to go to the doctor because I know that's going to be. I've heard people say that to me. When I worked in corporate America, my coworkers were like, oh my God, I need to go to the doctor, but that copay. And people should not have to not go to the doctor, especially because, first of all, as a community, as a Black community, we're already hesitant for a lot of different reasons. And we can unpack all of that, the history as to why Black people are hesitant to go to the doctor. Okay, for the people that aren't Black, you might need this little bit of education, and it stems from way back when for a variety of different reasons in regards to being tested on as Black people and abuse in the medical system. But even now in the medical system, how Black people, Black women specifically, are treated differently. They were just talking about a woman who was turned away at the hospital and gave birth on the street. So these things are still happening. So if you do have access and you're just scared to go and you don't want to know, not knowing is not going to help you. Knowing is actually going to help you to prevent. Hence why I'm always talking to you. Like, I'm active. I do my Pilates. I have my nutritionist, but I still make sure I go to the doctor. And because I go to the doctor, this is why I had to lose some weight. The doctor was like, the numbers are a little borderline. I'm not getting y'all my HIPAA. I'm not telling y'all my medical history. But it's motivation. And I told you this years ago when I was working in corporate America. They did one of those little health fairs at the office. I went. I was like 20-something years old, but I was a little chunkier then, too. I've always fluctuated in weight, y'all. Shut up. Mind your business.
Okay. Only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There. The last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
I've got Dan Morgan here on the pod. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going good, man. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Dan Morgan. I'm an attorney and a managing partner at Morgan & Morgan, which is America's largest injury law firm.
That's pretty awesome. I think I saw a billboard of yours recently that said 20 billion won. 20 billion is an insane number.
Yeah, 20 billion recovered. It's actually, I think, somewhere north, probably closer to 22, 23 after this year. And each year we get bigger and badder and our army grows. So the number will hopefully keep getting bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Awesome. So how does someone get in contact with Morgan & Morgan? What would I do if I got into an accident?
Probably the easiest way is dialing pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. We are always open. Our call center is always waiting to take your call. 24/7, 365.
Wow. Dan Morgan from Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Thanks for coming by the show.
Thanks for having me.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
But then that's when I first learned about my blood pressure and that being the silent killer. I used to be like, oh, I just got a little bit of a headache, whatever. That's where I learned my blood pressure. And that's where I learned. I was like, when I'm at a certain weight, my blood pressure is perfect. I'm not borderline. I don't have anything like that. So it's important. Like I went on a tirade, but I think it's an important tirade, right? I think it's an important tirade. So if you're seeing this and you're like, oh, Kempire is reminding me that I need to go to the doctor, I need to check my blood pressure, or I need to take my medication. Okay, go do that. You could pause me and come back. I'll be here. Let me take a sip while I do that. All right. And if you're in one of those countries that have universal health care, what are you waiting on? Just saying. All right. Back to the Braxtons, part 2. Let's get to part 2 of the Braxtons. So, in part 2, this is where the wedding happens. We see at the top of that episode, Tony finally tells Towanda Trina went to bring Vaughn to the ER because his potassium levels were very high. Not good. Okay, but she handled it very much like I knew Towanda. So Tawanda's usually the glue when it comes to the family, what's going on in the family. I didn't think that she was going to fall apart. So, and she didn't. She didn't. So they end up having a good time. They do the electric slide. I don't ever think I can remember how to do electric slide. I haven't been to a wedding in so long. I got to practice. Hey, you're probably thinking, what, practice for what? You getting married? No. Y'all not doing the electric slide at my wedding. I don't want the electric I know it's probably going to happen. I don't want to do the electric slide at my wedding. I hate line dance. No, because then I'm going to feel old. Because I'm really going to start feeling like, have we reached that point in our lives that we're at the wedding, we doing the electric slide? Nope, we're not doing it. It's forbidden. Okay, fine. Okay, so back to this. So we were talking about Trina meeting with Vaughn, going to the doctor. The doctor gets on Vaughn about not following her directions. And she was like, what you keep talking as if going to Towanda's wedding and passing out there or passing away there would have been better. It's not. Because again, you could have went to the ER that morning and would have been fine. And you could have made it maybe at least the reception. Maybe. Not smart at all. I'm glad nothing happened like that, but not smart at all. But again, I go back to Vaughn trying to act like he's thinking of Trina. No, you're thinking about yourself, and you're a misogynist because you didn't listen to your female doctor until the male doctor said something. Okay, Vaughn. But we're not surprised by any of that, are we? No, we're not. We're not surprised by any of that. All right, moving on from there. So Trina packs and she heads to Malibu to meet with Tony and Tamar for a weekend that Tamar has planned because she wants to connect with her sisters. We did see a scene, I think it was in part 1, with Tamar and her friend who is a psychic, right? Or psychic medium. And she was just kind of giving her advice as to how to approach these conversations. Towanda already said she's not doing it, but Towanda was already on her honeymoon, so that was a perfect excuse. Do you think if Towanda wasn't on her honeymoon, she would have went? I think so. I think she would have went. I also think that they're going to get a season 3 because people are watching, people are engaged. But I'm just wondering, what are you going to talk about? But I love how production threw Tony under the bus and revealed, because they talk about Birdman when they all meet up, and it was interesting, the energy, because despite Tamar getting physical with Trina, they meet up. They were the first ones to get there before Tony, and they're sitting by the pool, and they seem all cool. They're like hugging and kissing. That's what I'm like, is it really that deep? Are these fights pre-produced? I don't know, because for them to get to the level of toxicity that they're getting to, I'm just like, I don't believe it's produced, but maybe it's just toxic in regards to, yeah, we fought like that and we said the worst things that we could ever say to each other. But hey, boo, how you been? Long time no see. Excuse me? So they're by the pool and they seem to be fine. So they go to dinner. Tony finally arrives. I say all that to say because they bring up Birdman at the dinner table. Before they bring up Birdman, they bring out this blow-up doll with food in the mouth. And I giggled a little bit. But it's supposed to be Towanda, the blow-up doll, okay? So they're sitting there having a conversation. They're having dinner, okay? And then they get into... What did they get into in regards to the conversation? They were just having like casual conversation. And it seemed like nothing ever happened, okay? Based off of what we watched, it seemed like nothing ever happened. I don't know if there were side conversations before this. Obviously, there were. But they're sitting there, they're eating. Again, another funny moment. Toni Braxton's cutting up the bread with a butter knife. And Tamar looks at her like, what are you doing? And she's like, I don't want to get my nails dirty. She was just like, girl, stop it. You're married to Birdman. So which leads to a conversation like, are we talking about Birdman? And Tony's like, no, we're not. And she's like, is it a secret? And she was like, I thought everybody knew. And this is when they flash back to the headlines that Toni Braxton got married to Birdman and then 2 weeks later filed for divorce, but then they never went through with the divorce, which hence is why I know a lot of you are confused. A lot of you are like, I thought they got divorced. No, remember, they filed for divorce after 2 weeks of being married, and then they withdrew it. So they've been still married. And recently, she posted on social media, happy anniversary, and she showed off her big, beautiful diamond, which says to me, like, because that was the only picture, it was the big, beautiful diamond. It wasn't a picture of them together. I was just sort of like, is that what you value? Is it the material? Because it's interesting that's your anniversary post. It's a picture of this big, huge diamond that he got you. Beautiful diamond, don't get me wrong. As a tourist that loves luxurious things, I can appreciate that. But at the same time, I'm sort of like, is that what you value? Is that why you're with him? Because, I mean, it would make sense, Tony. Because, look, can we have a real conversation like no one's watching? I mean, it's Birdman, and she's Toni the Braxton. She's beautiful. She's talented. Okay. Just, I mean, some people marry for love. Some people marry for other things. Look, he's been in their life for a very long time. I'm not going to take away from that. And sometimes, especially, one thing I will give women, gay men are not like this. Men are not like that. They're very superficial when it comes to who they're going to be with. Women are very open-minded. Like, they will date an ugly man. They will. I'm not saying he's ugly. I'm just saying they will date a man that's less than attractive. Right? Ladies, don't leave me out here on a lurch by myself. You know it's true. Girl, you know it's true. Ooh, 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 I love you. Sorry. All right. Just saying, you know it's true. Ladies, speak up in the comments. Don't just leave me here hanging like I'm lying. And I must say, no, I feel like men don't do that. Men are very superficial. Gay men are very superficial. So we've talked about this too before in regards to how some gay men, you see them, you're like, he looks just like you. Why are you dating? There's something about that. I haven't looked into the psychology of that, but I've digressed again. Let me focus. Back to this, guys. So they're in Malibu. They're having dinner. They're talking about all this stuff and what's been going on, whatever. And Tony says, we're not talking about Birdman. And they're like, are we not talking about Birdman? Are we talking about Birdman? And Tony's just like, I don't want to talk about my personal life. You are in a whole reality show. Look, it's very obvious. If you've been watching our recaps from last season to this season, it's very obvious that Toni Braxton's not sharing her personal life on the show. But you have the nerve to be on a reality show and say, I am not comfortable sharing my personal life. Which then leads to Trina saying the same thing when they start talking about her own blood pressure. Girl, you've talked about it. You talked about it literally by the pool with Tamar, and you've talked about it previously in other scenes. Unless there's more that she didn't want to divulge, it could be. But honestly, I don't even blame her. That's your personal health stuff. I choose to share what I want to share with you guys, but this is not a reality show. In regards to, we just having a conversation about health. I didn't have to share all those details with you in regards to my health. So I get it. She's sharing as much as she wants to share, which is fine. It has to do with her health. But you on a whole reality show, Tony the Braxton, and you don't want to talk about your personal life? This is why, kind of like for Tony being on the show, like I love Tony. I think she's amazingly talented. But we're watching a reality show, and I feel like the old reality show, not Braxton Family Values, but when she did, what was it called? It was for VH1. You guys remember, she was pregnant. I thought she would be amazing on reality television after that because I was like, I loved seeing that because it was about her life at that particular point. But here we are on a reality show. That's why a lot of the stuff that I see on this show is so pre-produced. So pre-produced. Anyway, so the next day, they end up doing sort of like a sound bath. I felt like there could have been more because they had a whole psychologist there, and they had the young lady doing the sound bath. But Tamar prefaced it. First of all, Tamar comes in with the damn blow-up doll. I giggled at it. Look, some people are like, what is this tomfoolery? I giggled. It's funny. With the fries in the mouth. Anyway, so Tamar gives a disclaimer. Well, Trina is very religious, so she's not really comfortable with some of this, hokey stuff and whatnot. She didn't use those words. I'm assuming that these were words that Trina probably would use. So Trina tries to explain it, but she says, I'm going to try and be open to it. And I got annoyed watching that because I was like, Trina is going to act as if, first of all, a sound bath, there's no religion to it. If anything, it's science in regards to how sounds can heal. So she acts really weird during the sound bath. But Trina trying to make it seem as if this might go against her faith. She's talking about, I didn't really enjoy it. I was, speaking in tongues in my head and da-da-da-da. First of all, and again, I know a lot of you are going to be like, well, there are those hypocritical Christians. Fine. But my frustration here is you find this hokey and of the devil. However, defending a man that's your ex-husband that admitted on this show to being inappropriate during your marriage. And then we find out, and the text messages were there, and apparently you saw the text messages, allegedly, according to Ashley, where your husband, then husband, the late Gabe, the late Gabe, was texting a 16-year-old girl, your niece, inappropriately. You want to act as, and look, hold on. Look, hold on. And not only did it happen back then, your niece claims that you did not, if anything, you started acting different towards her. But wait, there's more. Then in 2025, you doubled down on it. No, triple down on it. Because you doubled down on it on another live, and then you triple down on it on another live, defending, there's the truth, their truth, your truth, and the truth. Okay. And then you double down, triple down on it. And you can't speak for the dead. But then at the same time, you're not protecting your niece. Don't come to me with like, oh, you're holier than thou Christian or doing anything. It's hypocritical. It's hypocritical. I know you probably wouldn't have thought that particular scene would lead us down that rabbit hole. But if we're going to do a finale recap, we got to talk about how the season started and what they were talking about during the season. So I found it to be very hypocritical. Again, it's a sound bath. It's supposed to be relaxing. Ain't no religion involved. She's like, I was praying and speaking in tongues. Girl, you need to pray about other things. You need to pray about other things. I got so annoyed with that. It was not that deep, girl. You could have sat there and relaxed and enjoyed the sounds. It's the sounds and the water that she was, this water sound that she was, it's supposed to be relaxing like you're by the ocean. There is no religious connotation to that. And we've talked about this before, with the whole Sinners, the movie, and us as Black people really embracing our spirituality from the motherland. We need to start normalizing that and understanding that more, that we were more spiritual people than we were Christian. Christianity was forced on us by the colonizers. But look, we've made do with it and we formed it into something that is helpful for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be. No, it's been helpful for a lot of people. But stop with that. Anyway. All right. We're going to move on. We're going to move on because how long have I been talking? Okay. I've been talking for almost an hour. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. Become a member today as well of our YouTube channel. Head on over to TheKempire.com/join. And don't forget to follow us on the Kempire podcast. So if you're listening to this on the Kempire podcast, be sure to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And if you are loving my sweatshirt, they're also available in t-shirts and hats. Are You Okay merch is available now, but not just Are You Okay merch. Our logo merch, our tour merch from the summer. If you came to the show, even if you didn't come and you want tour merch, head on over to houseofkempire.com. That's HAUS of Kempire.com. More information will be available in the description. And as always, I know you are all always asking about my skincare routine. We've gotten you a discount with our friends over at Butter. Head on over to butterskin.com and use the discount code Kempire10 for 10% off of your order, especially because the holidays are here. Don't be waiting, y'all. You know how things take forever to get delivered and things like that. We're supposed to be collaborating with Butter again next month, very soon. So stay tuned for that, guys. In regards to our collaboration with Butter, we're going to do it like an online shopping event. So stay tuned for that. That's always fun. And I'm sure we'll have all kinds of giveaways and discounts and things like that. But now you can get your 10% off. So go get your 10% off. You might be running out on those silky soft towels like I am. Perfect time to use it. All right. Excuse me, y'all. All right. Let's get to this conversation. So they end up having a conversation. Sidebar, why were we doing Towanda's takes? Did you guys notice that in the episodes where they were doing like Towanda's viewpoint of the episode or something like that kind? I'm like, why are we doing that? If we're going to do Towanda's, why don't we do everybody's? But okay. So Towanda's on her honeymoon, hence why she's not at this sister situation. Or she could also not be at the sister situation because of how dark it got between her and Tamar. So the sisters gather again for dinner and they're talking about their issues. And it seemed as if Tony and Tamar, who's always been close, they've already resolved their issues. It didn't seem like they really needed to resolve anything. But Tony actually had regrets on how she reacted in that moment because she got really heated. So Tamar is frustrated because she was like, who gave my address to this lawyer? And she says, it's the family lawyer who's come out and said that it wasn't Trina who gave him the address. He said that. I did see that Tamar is denying that he's not telling the truth in regards to that. Matter of fact, what is Tamar's? Because I can repost. I'm sure she was reposting it. So let me see if I can find it actually here, y'all. Even though she has me blocked, but now on X, even if a person has you blocked, it'll say that this person has you blocked, but you can still see their posts. Let me see. Did she delete it? Let me see if it's still there. She might have deleted it. Yeah, I think she deleted it, y'all. Oh my goodness, she deleted it because it was just the other day she posted it. I guess she must have deleted it. Fine. Or replies. Let me see if it's under replies. No, she must have deleted it. You know, Tamar, she good for deleting. You know what I mean? But anyway, she did repost one of the stories, one of the videos where they're talking about this episode, and she talks about the lawyer. And in the scene, she talks about how the lawyer is best friends with Tony, and she was frustrated with Tony and why didn't you call him and protect your sister? And she's like, why? Like, what are you talking about? That's not my attorney. And Trina was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. There was a sweet moment in their conversation because Tamar revealed that there was a particular point where Trina was coming over to her place, and Trina lives really far from Tamar, but she would still come over on a weekly basis. Like there's, what was it, Monday Night Football they would watch together, and they would hang out and things like that. And she was like, she really enjoyed that. So it was a sweet moment, but the sweet moment shifts really quickly when they start talking about the cease and desist. And as we started talking about at the top of this, I am not understanding her frustration with her sisters because they're not the ones who sent the cease and desist. And I get it. You're all going to say, well, but someone gave her address and, she didn't want her address, given to this person. Your issue, this is what Tamar has said. Her issue was the fact that this cease and desist was trying to stop her business. Even in this conversation, she said, you're stopping my business. You're stopping the way that I'm able to feed my son. She's being dramatic. And even her reaction was misdirected because none of the sisters gave her that cease and desist. So if you're talking about people stopping your business, the person stopping your business is the person sending the cease and desist. But reminder, a cease and desist is not stopping your business. You saw she still went on to do the podcast. So the cease and desist did not stop her business. So what was that reaction for? What was that reaction for? It didn't stop your business. Your sisters are not the ones that sent it. It was your brother that reportedly sent it. Where's the energy for him? Okay. And I'm assuming that Michael Braxton Jr. is not talking to his sisters right now. They might be estranged, but they're not going to talk about that. That's the real crux of the situation. So the entire season, they're talking about the cease and desist that none of the sisters sent, but led to a physical altercation, people spilling tea, got us all digging. Who exactly did Tamar date that or sleep with that was Tony's ex-boyfriend? Is it Birdman? It led a lot of conversation. But again, I've said this before about Tamar. Sometimes people like Tamar, it doesn't matter if the conversation is toxic or derogatory as long as they're a part of the conversation and people are talking about them. Just saying. So when you think about none of them sent the cease and desist, because remember when they were promoting this fight and they kept on showing it over and over again, we even get to see it again, the unedited version at the dinner table. They kept on promoting this fight. I'm thinking one of the sisters was behind sending the cease and desist, even though I knew about Michael Braxton sending one. I was like, wait a second, did one of the sisters send it? How were they culpable in this whole situation? Only to find out none of them sent it. Did Trina denies sending it? Denies sending it. Did she give the address though? Maybe she did. But again, you can send a cease and desist via email. They could have sent the cease and desist to Tamar's attorneys. They could have sent it to her publicist. They could have sent it to WeTV. They could have sent it to whoever produces her podcast. There's so many ways it could have been sent to Tamar. So your issue is not with how it was sent. Your issue was that it was sent. So if you received it at your home or via email, it would have been sent. However, it doesn't stop your business. And it didn't. You still released the interview. Ashley, it was still able to do. No one got sued. And if you have a good attorney, you would have known that. And you do. I'm sure you do. But you wanted to turn up the theatrics for reality television. So you had your big moment. And here we are. Here we are. But it leads to a back and forth between Trina and Tamar, where they kind of go back and forth. And then they talk about the physical altercation. And Tamar says, you touched me. You touched me. And she's like, I did not touch you. I did not do you. She's like, you didn't touch me? And we've talked about this endlessly at this particular point. If you go back to the video footage, yes, Trina did touch Tamar, but she didn't push Tamar. She didn't punch Tamar. She didn't pull Tamar's head. She didn't kick Tamar. She got in between them. She did touch Tamar. And please understand, if Trina had pushed Tamar in that moment would have been like, don't push me. She did say, don't touch me at one particular point, but she didn't. You can see what Trina was doing. However, Tamar decided to yank Trina's hair when she wasn't looking and then kick Trina when she wasn't looking. And then now all of a sudden, and this is why I always say that Tamar is like a perpetual child, because she will do all of these antics, this big argument that she created, all these issues she's caused with Towanda, and now with Trina, and with Tony, and now she's just like, I want to apologize. The thing with me when it comes to apologies do not land if the behavior continues. The real apology is changed behavior. And we've seen with Tamar, and this is probably part of the reason why Towanda is like, I'm not dealing with this anymore, because there is no changed behavior. I don't blame her. Because you see now all of a sudden, before last week, it was like, I don't think I could, move on with my sisters. They're toxic. I don't want to be around them anymore. This week, all of a sudden, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love you. If you remember our Love and Marriage Huntsville recaps, then you get that. For those that don't, sorry. I'm sorry. I love you. So Tamar is now apologetic, but she's not, despite being apologetic, she's like, oh, you didn't touch me? You didn't touch me? So they go get the laptop to show the never before seen footage of that fight. He's like, oh, you didn't touch me? You didn't touch me? And my thing is like, why didn't they just go directly to that point? We're not going to watch all of this raw footage. So eventually we get to that point and you see it. And Trina's just like, in her confessional, she's like, I did not push Tamar. I put myself between her and Tony because they were about to get physical. We all saw it. We all understand it. But I will say she did touch her. Okay? You're right, Tamar. She did touch you. But then you pulled her hair. And then you kicked her when she wasn't looking. Are you happy? You're right about that particular part. So they have their little back and forth. Tamar is refusing to listen to Trina because Trina's like, I don't want to see this. And she's trying to have a conversation with her. Eventually they see it. Trina's just like, I did not push you. I did not hit you. Tony's just like, our mom raised us to better than that. We wouldn't do that to each other. But y'all want to hit each other. But y'all will say the most toxic things to each other. Please do not come and be like, because this is what last week where Tony was like, we're not ghetto. Excuse me? We're not ghetto. Excuse me? Maybe you're not. Even though you got up from that table and pushed that table away like you were about to fight. But eventually, and again, I feel like they wanted to resolve the issue so that they could have another season, end the season, because they knew that this was going to be the season finale. I feel like we were seeing them produce. We were seeing them produce in this particular moment. And first of all, before they even get to producing, Trina calls Tamar a liar. She says it in Spanish, and she's like, you called me the B word. She's like, you don't even understand what I'm saying. You called me a liar, I called you a liar. They eventually, at one particular point, Tamar says to her, I take it back. Like, very sinister the way she said it, too. I'm just like, there's something about Tamar's energy. She's like, I take it back. Okay. And then Trina says, well, you know what? I take it back, too. So the audience now has to move on? Sidebar. Iyanla Vanzant is coming back to OWN. If they come back with a season, they need real therapy. And they don't need cameras, let's be honest. But if because y'all know what y'all going to do, no matter how I feel or what I say, y'all going to continue to regurgitate this same stuff on your reality show. So go on OWN, or at least have Iyanla come through. No, Tamar probably still hates Iyanla. I don't know why you hate Iyanla for telling the truth. Just saying. I don't know. But I am still shocked the fact that we don't have a moment with at Miss Evelyn and the daughters talking about their issues, even separately. We don't have that moment, or her giving some sort of words of advice. Except we have her being crotchety to poor Larry. I hope Larry, I hope you find love, real love, real love. Anyway. Guys, as always, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. An easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. This is our final recap of the BRAXTONS, but it won't be our final recap here on the channel. We still have to talk about Real Housewives of Potomac on Monday afternoon. We still have Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and who knows, we will continue to update you on the Wendy Acefo situation, the Mia Thornton situation, and of course, this breaking news that Kandi Burruss has filed for divorce, or will be filing for divorce. I don't know if she's officially filed, but has announced that she will be divorcing Todd Tucker after 11 years of marriage. If you missed that video, be sure to check that out here on the channel or the podcast, depending on where you're watching or listening. Thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to our subscribers. Thank you to our new subscribers. We literally were celebrating 555,000 subscribers. Now we're at 556,000. So thank you to our new subscribers. If you're new here, be sure to let yourself be known. And we will continue this conversation in the comment section. Replay crew, let me know how you would rate this season. Well, first of all, those of you that are in the live chat, this is pre-recorded, sidebar, yeah, if y'all didn't know. But if you're in the live chat, let me know how you would rate the season, and just how you would rate the season of the BRAXTONS. But if you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know where you're watching from, what you thought of the season, how you would rate the season of the BRAXTONS as well. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. As always, guys, again, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you don't miss out when we have breaking news. And we've been having breaking news a lot lately. I mean, I don't look forward to breaking news, to be honest with you. But turn on your notifications and make sure you're following us other places because the YouTube notifications can be a little shaky. Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheKempire, and you will be able to, those notifications stay on and work. So even if you utilize that as your notification, but we do have a growing community, right? Twitch community, we do have a growing community in the Twitch chat. So, and we stream in 4K, so the quality is a top tier in both audio and video. This quality will be a little bit less than 4K. It'll be like 1080, but still better on Twitch. That's nice. Be sure to follow us there. More information on everything Kempire will be available in the description. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Bye, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. For more information on the podcast, head on over to KempireRadio.com.